One day I realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't drifting because life pushed me, I was drifting because I stopped steering. I'm Sharon Combs, and this is Be the Clay, where we reflect on the moments that shape who we become. This is episode one of a 12-part reflection series on alignment and intentional growth. I remember a season in my life where I was doing a lot. I was working, I was showing up, I was officiating, I was leading cohorts, I was producing. If you looked at my life from the outside, it would have looked like progress. And it was, I loved most of what I got to do. But internally, something began to feel off, not broken, not failing, just off. And I couldn't explain it at first because everything I was doing made sense. It checked the boxes, it looked responsible. But one day I had to sit with myself long enough to admit something. I had started moving without intention. I wasn't deciding. I was reacting. I was fulfilling, but becoming less fulfilled. You know, I wasn't leading my life. I was responding to it. And that realization will humble you if you let it, because it means the issue isn't time, it isn't opportunity, it's awareness. I had gotten comfortable being busy, and busy can hide misalignment because as long as you're moving, you don't have to ask yourself, is this actually where I'm supposed to be going? Or am I still supposed to be here? Autopilot feels productive until you look up and realize you've gone somewhere you never intentionally chose. Here's what I've learned about alignment. Alignment is not about what you say you value, it's about what your life is consistently producing. And many of us are producing outcomes we didn't consciously choose, not because we're incapable, but because we stopped checking in. We stopped asking, why am I doing this? Who am I becoming in this? Life will let you drift if you let it. Responsibilities will stack, opportunities will come, expectations will increase. And before you know it, you're managing a life you never intentionally designed. That's why awareness is so important, because awareness is the first signal. And if you don't recognize the signal, you can't adjust the direction. Just because something is moving doesn't mean it's advancing. You can be exhausted from working long and or hard and still be out of alignment. You can be productive and still be misdirected. That's the cost of autopilot. And here's the deeper part. Autopilot doesn't start with your actions, it starts with your thinking. I will hit this briefly this upcoming Saturday. How autopilot thinking shapes a life you didn't choose. Regardless of who or where you are in life, the moment you stop thinking and living intentionally, you start accepting whatever life presents without evaluation. And that's not leadership, that's drift. The questions I want to leave with you today: what in your life is asking you to become something better right now? Is it your discipline, your focus, your decisions, your willingness to pause and evaluate where you are? Because life doesn't usually interrupt us loudly at first. It whispers through discomfort, through frustration, through that quiet sense that something isn't quite right. The question is, are you listening? Because that whisper is only going to get louder, louder and louder until it shouts, and you don't want the shout. Trust me. Friends, clay doesn't shape itself, but you can decide whether it stays moldable. Growth requires awareness. Awareness requires honesty. And honesty requires us to pause long enough to see what's really happening, work on what you're working toward. And if you're interested in going deeper into reflections like this, they're part of a leadership framework I call the ecosystem. Signal it, attune to it, build, amplify, echo. We also host an online alignment session 1 weekend a month, absolutely free of charge. Join us for support, for feedback, and for insight, because alignment matters. Thanks for listening to Be the Clay Shifting and Transition podcast. If you'd like to support these sessions, there are 3 ways you can do it. 1, share this with your network or a friend. 2, scan the QR code or click the Give from Your Heart link in the description. All of the links are there, by the way. My cousin always says, what is from the heart reaches the heart. And 3, engage with me. Come on, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I want to interact with you. Lastly, friends, be kind to somebody, be nice to somebody, not for wealth or fame, but because it's just a good thing to do. Until next time, be the clay and think on purpose.